deep down inside, it really seems like everybody wants to be a rock superstar. There have been countless actors, athletes, and comedians who hope that they could parlay their fame into a music career, to various degrees of success. Most of the time, the attempt fails, and the celebrity becomes a punchline. Bring up the music careers of people like David Hasselhoff, Steven Seagal, or William Shatner, and people can't help but make fun of them. Hell, Bruce Willis, Patrick Swayze, and Don Johnson all had top 10 hits in the 80s, and people still dunk on them. Now, there are people who break through and become successful musicians, but for every Jennifer Lopez, there's like 5 Heidi Montags. It just seems incredibly hard for the public to take a celebrity attempt at rock or pop music seriously. And in rap music, it's damn near impossible. Of all the attempts by celebrities to make music, hip-hop must have the lowest success rate. I don't know why so many celebrities have tried rapping, but my theory is that they must think it's easier than learning to sing. That ill-conceived notion is probably part of the reason that as rap grew in popularity in the 80s and 90s, people tripped over themselves trying to capitalize on the new trend. That's why we got a deluge of novelty songs like Rodney Dangerfield's Rappin' Rodney, Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd's Dragnet rap, and Mel Brooks' Hitler rap. At least those were funny on purpose, unlike the disasters that were Brian Austin Green's One Stop Carnival or Kevin Federline's Playing with Fire. In a genre that focuses so heavily on authenticity, a famous person would have to be a special kind of psychopath to think they could just waltz into the hip-hop world without any experience and become a big deal.
Don't buy any unripe bananas yet, because you won't live to eat them.
Hell yes, that's right. This episode of Pop Culture Hyperfixations is taking a look at Macho Man Randy Savage's 2003 rap masterpiece, Be a Man. But first, we should probably take a look at the Macho Man and where he was in 2003. Look, I could talk about his career for hours, so this is strictly the Cliff Notes version for those who aren't as infected with macho madness as I am. Macho Man Randy Savage is one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, and was a crucial part in the rise of wrestling's mainstream popularity. In 1985, at 33 years old, he joined the World Wrestling Federation with his then wife Elizabeth in a memorable run that peaked with a storyline that saw him team with, and ultimately feud with, Hulk Hogan. By the time the 90s came around, WWF chairman Vince McMahon wanted to focus on younger talent. Savage thought he still had more in the tank, so he joined rival World Championship Wrestling, a decision which saw him once again get involved in storylines with Hulk Hogan. Believe me, we're going to talk a lot more about the Hulkster later, just hang tight. But by 2001, WCW had gone out of business, and a 50-year-old Savage was living in Tampa, Florida, looking for something to do. His good friend and fellow wrestler Brian Adams was looking to get into boxing, and Savage became his manager. This led to a chance meeting with someone else involved in boxing, Bill Edwards. Edwards also happened to be the head of a local record label called Big 3 Records, who had put albums out for acts like Cheap Trick and, I swear I'm not making this up, Republican Senator Orrin Hatch.
Gotta love this country, do what you can do to make things better for those who follow you.
When Edwards met Savage, he got an idea, which led to him asking the Macho Man if he'd ever consider becoming a rapper. Edwards was quoted in a Vice.com article about the decision saying, quote, "I thought that his notoriety and popularity and everything would carry a record. Just the fact that he was Macho Man, people would come." Although he was a fan of rap, Savage was incredibly skeptical. This wouldn't be his first attempt at music, as he performed Speaking from the Heart on the Simon Cowell produced WrestleMania the album, but that was just a novelty record. This was a real attempt to make real music. Despite Savage's hesitations, Edward convinced him by promising to hire the best crew possible. That crew was a group of producers known as the Rascals, who quickly hit it off with the Macho Man. There wasn't any real photos or videos of the Rascals, so let's pretend these guys are them. Randy would be the first to admit he was not a natural rapper, but he was incredibly determined. He developed a reputation in wrestling for meticulously planning his matches and took that same attitude to his rap. According to the Rascals, he would practice as often as possible to try and improve, even bring a karaoke machine on the road with him. Over the course of the year-long production, the Rascals wrote virtually every song on the album, but Savage did contribute and worked harder than I think anyone expected. Every interview with members of the Rascals mentioned just how fun the whole process was. Member Khalid Keane talked about it in the Vice article, saying he was just as happy to spend time with them outside of work too, routinely sharing post-session dinners and playing pickup basketball to blow off steam. It was kind of surprising that someone with his celebrity status would embrace us the way he did. He was a true friend. Scheduled for an October 2003 release, the album was given the title of Be a Man. I'm not going to break down each song and what makes it good or bad. Plenty of YouTubers have already done that. Plus, you don't want me to do that. My musical taste is suspect at best. Europe's Final Countdown is on my top 5 albums of all time. I'm not to be trusted. Be a Man consists of 13 songs. I'm Back, Are You Ready, Hit the Floor, featuring DJ Cool, Let's Get It On, Remember Me, Tear It Up, Macho Thang, Be a Man, Get Back, Feel the Madness, What's That All About Pretty Lady, Gonna Be Trouble, and Perfect Friend. I do want to quickly highlight Perfect Friend, as that seems to be the most universally praised track on the album. Written by Randy's brother and fellow wrestler, the genius Lonnie Poffo, Perfect Friend was a tribute by the brothers to their recently departed comrade, Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig. It meant a lot to Macho, who said it was the only song he was unwilling to perform at a concert. It was just too raw for him. On an album full of testosterone-induced braggadocio such as "Critics and the haters, y'all are so pathetic, I'll pound you to the ground and be unapologetic," a heartfelt song like Perfect Friend stands out. While Perfect Friend is a sweet ode to a fallen comrade, let's be real, that is not the reason people remember this album. People remember it because this is the album where Randy Savage tries to get Hulk Hogan to fight him for real.
The first real fight in the ring. A real fight between Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man, Randy Savage. What's wrong with that, Hulk Hogan? What's wrong with that, you coward? What's wrong with that, you wuss? You understand that? All your Hulkamaniacs are knocking on your door. They're saying, be a man, Hogan. Be a man. What's up with that?
Trying to unravel the twists and turns of the Hogan and Savage relationship is made incredibly difficult by the unreliability of its narrators, especially Hogan, a man who once claimed Metallica asked him to be their bassist. There's countless different variations to the story, but everyone seems to agree the falling out originates with Macho Man's divorce from Miss Elizabeth. Fairly or unfairly, Savage felt that Hulk and his wife, Linda, were to blame, and whatever friendship the pair had took a big hit. Hulk himself may have also taken a big hit, as a popular urban legend was that when Hogan showed up at WrestleMania 9 with a black eye, it was from Savage punching him in the face. Hogan denies it, but he's denied a lot of things that were true, so who knows. Eventually, Savage was able to put aside the bad blood and work with Hogan later on in WCW without any real incident. There isn't a ton of reporting on the relationship at the end of the 90s, but Savage didn't break Hogan's nose, so at the very least they were civil. So what happened?
It's No Panties Thursday.
7:05 with No Panties Thursday. I'm Bubba the Love Sponge and my homie Guido on the Power Pig 93.3 FM.
Okay, so I've had to try and connect some dots here and read between the lines to piece it all together, but a lot of Hogan and Savage's beef seems to stem from Tampa radio shock jock Bubba the Love Sponge. Bubba was a big deal in Tampa, and a close friend of Hogan's. I don't know about the nature of Savage and Bubba's relationship, but there is this appearance where Savage actually called into Bubba's show, wanting to confront him and Hogan over something they'd said about him.
Both you guys are very dear to me.
No.
And Randy, last thing I want is for you to think that...
Is that I'm not getting punked out in my hometown. Let me just tell you that right now, by you or anybody else. I'm talking about you and Terry. I'm just telling you right now, I'm not getting punked out by nobody. I'm not the toughest guy in the world, brother, but I will not back up.
I don't know when that call was made, but it seems like at that point in time, Hogan and Savage were at least civil with each other. By December of 2001, all that had changed, as Savage began a very public campaign to fight Hogan. He wanted the fight to air on pay-per-view and to donate all the proceeds to a local children's hospital. So what caused this shift from restrained civility to blatant antagonism? While the details aren't fully clear, the shift really seems to stem from Savage getting mad at Bubba and Hogan for making fun of him on the radio. The last straw seeming to be a call Hulk allegedly made to Randy's father, Angelo. I don't know if it was a radio prank or a private call, but whatever Hogan said to Angelo is what pushed Randy over the edge and into the danger zone. I'm sure it was just a coincidence that not too long after the challenge of a fight, Randy announced he would be appearing at a World Wrestling All-Stars pay-per-view. Just weird timing, you know? Hogan obviously turned down their quest for a real fight because he's a coward, but Savage still donated money to the children's hospital. He gave them $10,000 but had them put it in as coming from the Hulk Hogan is a Coward Fund. All this nonsense with the Hulkster was going on, Savage was in the studio working on his album. After hearing him vent over his issues with Hogan, one of DeRascals told him he should consider turning this into a song, and thus, Be a Man was born. This was the only song Randy had writing credit on, and he wanted Hogan to know it. He really wanted to get under Hogan's skin. This is a story Randy tells of a group of fans bothering Hogan at a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game by yelling "Be a Man" at him, but I don't know if that actually happened. As far as diss tracks go, Be a Man isn't Hit 'Em Up, or No Vaseline, or Not Like Us. It's better.
Hello, fans of pop culture hyperfixation. It's Tom Green here, not that Tom Green. Host of WSW Deep Cuts Live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. on Twitch. Host of Off the Grid every other Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern, at 8 p.m. Eastern on my YouTube channel. So just go find Not That Tom Green. Also, you've probably seen me on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, etc. I do things. Anyway, so Ben, longtime close personal friend of mine, asked me to help him avoid a copyright strike. And thus, Hollywood Hulkster, you're at the end of your rope. And I'm going to kick you in the butt and wash your mouth out with soap. I had to double check that it said kick you in the butt. In the butt. Like not on the butt, not around the butt, in the butt. Because like Rodney Dangerfield, he gets no respect. So come on, Hulk. Let's wreck so I can put you in check. Come on, don't be scared. You're running from Macho. That's what I heard. That doesn't rhyme.
The promotion of that album was heavily focused on that track, and there was a lot of promotion. Big 3 Records and Savage went all in on the project, and the Macho Man made appearances all across the country. He made guest appearances on web cartoons, he hosted Nickelodeon's Slime Time Live, and he even appeared on an episode of Love Line with Dr. Drew and Adam Carolla.
That's the movie I would see. Dinosaurs crapping in the wild, as it was, simulated. You know what I mean? Like, what does the Duke... I mean, a horse Duke is a huge pile of Duke, right?
So you've seen one of Hogan's matches?
I've seen horse Duke.
With the album scheduled to release in October, Savage decided to do a preview concert at a bar called Mr. B's in his backyard of Treasure Island, Florida. What was supposed to be a triumph for Savage turned out to be a disaster, as the dark shadow of Hulkamania cast far across the Tampa area. Bubba the Love Sponge was not going to let Savage diss his buddy without a fight, and his mockery of Macho Man had only intensified over the years. Macho Man was a frequent target of his radio show, and bits like this one.
I crapped my pants and I cannot lie. Shouldn't lift weights when you're high. Took roids and they gave me an itty bitty sack, and the brown stain in my slack smells like dung.
Bubba had encouraged his listeners to ruin the concert, and they followed orders. In a letter to the Pro Wrestling Torch, reader Scott Fedor wrote of attending the concert, quote, "When I got to Mr. B's, the restaurant bar where the event was being held, there was a swarm of people outside of the building, many adorned in bright yellow shirts. Bubba had promised a shirt giveaway on the radio, and those were the shirts. On the front read, Hulk Hogan rules, and on the back, Macho Man sucks, with proud member of the Bubba Army written below. I was too late for the free shirts. Mr. B's was refusing to let anyone else inside at that point, especially those who were wearing the yellow shirts. However, others who walked right up were let inside no problem. Apparently the idea was to prevent hecklers from making it inside. That idea ended up failing. A slew of off-duty cops kept the peace out front as best as they could. Bryan Adams, Crush, and Macho Man arrived together in a limo. There were a few cheers, and then a chorus of boos from angry Bubba fans. People were shouting things like, "New Bane," and "Crap your pants at Gold's Gym" at Randy. The show went on, but was marred by technical issues that left Savage frustrated. Unfortunately, that wouldn't be the last time the Macho Man didn't get his way, as when Be a Man was released on October 7, 2003, it flopped. Savage had already begun work on a second album, but the failure caused him to reconsider the project altogether. Ironically, one of the tracks on Be a Man was called Remember Me, a song all about Randy reminding people just who the hell he was. But to the Macho Man, it seemed like maybe his time had passed, and people had forgotten about him. He briefly returned to wrestling in 2004 for total non-stop action, but then quickly stepped out of the spotlight. Over the next few years, he made very few public appearances, as his acting career shifted to exclusively voiceover work. On May 20th, 2011, Savage suffered a heart attack while driving and passed away at 58 years old. In a real case of you don't know what you got till it's gone, Macho Man's legendary stature has only grown since his passing. He has fully transcended pro wrestling and has certified himself as a permanent staple of American pop culture. In recent years, even Be a Man has seen a resurgence. In April of 2023, a limited edition version of the album was released on vinyl for Record Store Day, and since then has been reissued in various variants. As for Hulk Hogan, him and Macho did bury the hatchet. According to the Hulkster, after a chance encounter in a doctor's office, the two were finally able to reconcile. I know what I said about Hogan lying, but this story was confirmed by Randy's own brother Lanny Poffo, so I guess it's true. That's good to see that Randy Savage was able to make peace with Hulk Hogan. But me, I'm not Randy Savage, and I don't want to make peace with Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan. He stinks, and I don't like him. Why? Because Hulk Hogan is a real big punk. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. And let me know in the comments your take on the Macho Man vs. Hogan feud. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm very pro Macho Man. I'm willing to hear out the Hogan fans, but come on. Just admit you're wrong. I'm kidding. Kind of.